Hello, welcome to Family We've Got Your Back. This week we're doing another episode, that's what they're called, episode about consideration. I'm Michelle Christensen. This is my husband, Trent. He is close to being done with grad school so that he can become a principal. But right now he's a math teacher at a middle school. And that is a hard job.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, every time I introduce myself to someone new and they ask, what do I do? I tell them and they're like, oh, bless your heart.
And we're not even Southern.
No.
Bless your heart.
That doesn't belong to just the Southerns.
Well, you know what I mean, though. So anyway, so poor Trent. It's
no, not poor Trent.
Well, it's the fourth quarter, and you finally have the ability to say you need to improve your behavior. You can't go to the eighth grade trip.
Yeah.
The amusement park at the end of the year, because you have to have good behavior in order to go.
Yeah.
Or you can't go to the end of school
end of
carnival.
School. Yeah.
Or activities or whatever. They're like, yeah, I want to go. Too bad. You didn't do a single thing
today,
all year. Too bad.
Today there was an activity where if they met their reading challenge, then during 7th hour they got to go out and dunk one of the principals in the
really?
dunk tank.
See, he would be a good principal to dunk because he wouldn't care.
I don't care. But I had to stay inside with 8 people that couldn't read. Not that they can read, but they chose not to read 3 articles and answer the questions in 3 weeks. I'm like, what? So when I saw there was 8 people in my classroom, I was like,
sorry.
I gave them a little bit of a hard time because it's not a lot. That's not a lofty goal.
That's not hard. It's 15 minutes of effort a week.
Yeah.
It's really not that big of a deal, and yet they choose not to do it. It's ridiculous.
And we have a 15-minute section of time that we have 4 times a week. So if you just did one article, that's 60 minutes for one article. That's literally 1 page, and then answer the questions. Done. Check.
You get to go have fun.
Yeah.
But no,
so
I do not understand that mentality at all.
Either.
At all. Because for me, like a B was failing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I think everybody should be held to that standard.
Yeah.
It's that I didn't put enough effort in if I got a B because I was completely capable of getting an A.
Right.
And so...
And there's a caveat for that too. If you did have a specific situation where you really are not a capable reader, but you're consistently trying, then the teachers would say, okay, this kid has only been in the U.S. for 6 months. They're trying. They can still go outside.
Yeah, but these kids, completely capable and would not try.
Yeah.
So one of his papers is about apathy and how that's affecting and how do we combat apathy, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a great... I wouldn't call it a thesis because it's just a short paper.
I wish it was just a short paper.
Well, what, 10 pages? 20?
Oh, I don't know. Probably 10.
Yeah, a short paper.
That's a lot.
It's not
I'm a math teacher.
It's not 100 pages.
No,
it's not 1,000 pages.
No, it's
not a dissertation.
No.
Anyway, but my mom texted me today and said, when does Trent graduate? And I'm like, he kind of really doesn't. He just finishes.
I mean,
you get the certificate, but you don't. Yeah. There's no walking.
I think they do have that opportunity if you want to go.
What, do you just wave at the camera or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Just get your mailed certificate and call it good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think graduations are so boring. So boring. Anyway.
And yet we have to segue to consideration.
Yeah, I'm a rude person, so I think graduations are boring. Maybe I should be more considerate and care about graduations.
Yeah. I don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad either. Because I'm like, if I have to go to a graduation, then I better care about that person.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So we still have our same definition as last week of consideration.
Yes, we do.
Careful thought, typically over a period of time, thoughtfulness, and sensitivity towards others, which is what people are doing when they say, bless your heart.
Yes.
They're being thoughtful and sensitive.
Well, they're being they're understanding how hard that is to be, right? It's like...
Well, and that's what I think is so important, It's like
are you willing to sacrifice that sort of... You have to have a lot of self-possession in order to be a teacher, and you put up with a lot, right? And so I think that's why they were blessing your heart, is because, you put up with a lot, right?
It's true.
And so, So anyway, but they were trying to express their concern for you.
Yeah. Because
they're like, that's a necessary job.
I don't wish that upon my worst enemy, typically.
Right? Sorry, okay. So I was, you can't really see it, but I was changing the garbage can in our laundry room, garbage sack in our laundry room, and we have this wire hinged rack thing. And I totally just gouged out my forehead on it, bending down. I hit it with my forehead, and I totally just... And so I'm like, all week, I've been like, my head hurts. Because, when you have a big gaping wound in your face, it hurts, right? And so I'm like, this whole podcast, I'm like, my forehead hurts.
And I haven't been nearly considerate with, because I think I get hurt like that basically daily.
Well, I don't need your sympathy up for it. I'm just saying that's why I keep touching my forehead.
Oh.
So that explains that weirdness that I don't normally do on the podcast, is my head hurts. So please excuse my rudeness of covering my face with my hand, because my head hurts. Anyway.
We'll be considerate.
Thank you. Right? So anyway, those are kind of some ridiculous examples of consideration, right? But we thought we would be specific in our advice this week and talk about some of the different types of families and how you can employ consideration in your family, right? So let's start with empty nesters. My parents are old enough to be empty nesters. We're almost old enough to be empty nesters, but I doubt either of us will ever be empty nesters. So if you're lucky enough to have your children all grown up and adults and adulting outside of your home, then that's what we would consider an empty nester. Right?
And
your children are out of your home because they've now have their own places of residence and are contributing members of society. We're not saying that our children aren't. We're just saying that it's so expensive where we live that and our girls are still in college, and it's just, life is expensive.
Yeah.
And our son helped build this house, so he has earned the right to live here, right?
Yeah.
And so we're not at the point.
Not that we would kick him out.
He
has earned the right.
He has earned the right. But we would never kick him out for any reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, what we're saying is our children are not at the point where they need to live outside the home yet.
Yeah.
And so...
And when they're ready for that challenge, then we'll still support them in that.
Yeah, and whatever they need to have a successful life. And right now, having a successful life means...
Not incurring lots of debt.
Not incurring debt. Right?
Yeah.
So, so if you are in that position where your children have matriculated into adulthood, how can you still be a considerate parent? And if you are a grandparent, how can you be a considerate grandparent? How can you be a considerate spouse? Because a lot of times when people get to the point of, wait, the kids are now gone, we have nothing in common. And you get divorced.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, that happens a lot. A lot, that you find that you now have different lives and you don't enjoy living the same life.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you have the time to be together, right?
Yeah,
and so we
and-
want to help prevent that.
Well,
we
and
want
I
to
think-
keep you together.
I think too that parents, well, I don't know. I'm gonna. I don't know exactly what I'm going to communicate right now, but I think
want to see where this train goes.
yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of people that think a retirement or empty nester situation that's the reward. You know, we have arrived, therefore it's great, and that you don't have to work forever more.
Yes,
and that's completely,
it's paradise.
Yeah, like we have arrived, and that's when they recognize that, oh, where I wanted to be is different than where my husband wanted, or vice versa, right? And that's when this separation happens.
Yeah.
Marriage requires work all the time.
Yeah. His parents,
yeah,
they don't consider it work.
Right. Yeah. So if you've developed and fostered that kind of situation where you have each other's support, then that's going to keep on continuing. Your lives weren't just coexisting in the same path.
Under the same roof.
They were entwined, you know?
Yeah.
And so to try to do it differently is counterintuitive. You know, you just keep on doing what you've been doing, and supporting each other, and you still have your family, but just in a lesser way. And so you're still...
Well, lesser responsibility.
Right.
Way.
Less in that you're not in each other's space all the time.
Yes.
And so, but it's like...
well, and you have to also be more careful with the advice.
You do.
Parental advice you give.
You do.
Because you were still their parent, right? And so you still have that wisdom teaching responsibility, but in a less... do what I say or your phone is taken away type of responsibility.
And so that's the consideration that the parents need to have for the kids. Like you still want them to learn and grow, and that's going to necessitate some mistakes along the path.
Yeah.
But you don't want them to make sufficiently large mistakes that it's going to damage their future.
Right.
So you're still there to be supportive, and but you're recognizing that they are their own family, and that's going to have some hardships. Yeah,
that they are the head of their family unit. It's not you anymore. And so that's a hard situation to learn and how to navigate that. And so our specific advice for you is think first and make sure it's the right thing for them to hear, right? Truth is often hard to hear, especially if you're correcting. And so offering ideas.
Yeah.
When you notice them going astray, if they ask for advice, then you still have to think and be careful about how you deliver it, because how you deliver is more important than what you're saying. Often it's like, my parents care about me and they want me to do my best, and I can come with them to any problem and they can help me, right? That you want to still foster that type of relationship, but you don't want it to be they're controlling my life.
Right.
So you need to figure out a way to strike that balance.
It's a balance.
And so be careful with any advice or parenting you do.
And be supportive no matter what their choice is.
Supportive.
Well, I mean...
let's say loving.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to support a life of crime.
No.
But I love you. Right? So
right.
You got to be like, well, I can't support that type of behavior, but I still love you.
But if
and I want to help you.
But unless there's a moral consideration, like if they choose to go into this field versus that field,
right,
that's completely their choice.
Yeah,
and
it is.
you can caution against different things because different things have different consequences. But
Right.
maybe they want that consequence,
Right.
And if it's not going to be too big, if the conflict isn't going to be too big for their family situation, then, you make your choice and we'll be supportive as long as it's not going to drive a wedge in your family type of thing.
Yeah.
When
he was going back to school to become a teacher, he wanted to be a music teacher because music is his favorite and math is number 2. And his dad wrote him a letter and cautioned him and gave him some advice about how math teachers will always be in demand and music teachers won't. So you will have a more stable future.
There's a lot more.
And more opportunity.
Yep.
And have more of a choice.
Right.
If you go into math instead of music. And so he followed that advice and went into math instead of music. And now music is a hobby instead of his profession, which is better.
Yeah,
for
much
us.
better. Much better for our situation.
Right. So, because math teachers get paid more too. Woohoo! Anyway, so the point is they were very considerate and understood how to communicate with him in a way that was helpful and not intrusive.
Yeah.
So the next is parents with teens, which is our situation as well.
Yeah.
We're not quite empty nesters, but we do have adult children, and so we've had to navigate that advice situation, right?
Yeah.
And then the parents of teens. Oh boy, getting our senior to understand the need to come home on time. That took effort, right?
Yeah.
And I was Wicked Witch of the West. I mean, you have to tell me where you are. I'm 17. I know, but it's still my responsibility to know where you are at all times.
Yep.
All right? And if you don't tell me, that's on me, right? Like, I'm shirking my responsibility.
Right.
And so were you, because you need to tell me where you are, because, again, you're not an adult, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't happen until okay, that's just our son talking to his dog. So, when his friend had a situation with his girlfriend and he gave the advice where she's his mother and she needs to be respected. And when he told me about that, the light went on in his head and I was like, yeah. And so that means you need to come home on time too, doesn't it? Because I'm your mother and I should be respected. And he's like, oh.
Crumb.
Right? So
yeah.
Find your teaching moments, right? And so that's the key for any parent of a teen is to curate and cultivate those teaching moments so that it can make sense to them as to why obedience is necessary, why consideration and being polite and kind and respectful is appropriate. And then when they're not, to have an appropriate consequence. Not punishment.
Right.
I don't like the word punishment, but consequence, natural consequence for your behavior is so important. And being consistent with that.
Yeah. It's also counterintuitive to just get angry at them when it's like...
Anger's not going to help you in any
help.
Parenting situation.
Right. But when you have a teenager and they're starting to, get into healthy debates with their parents, whatever. It's like they come home and they've been to classes where they learn good skills.
Yeah.
But if you learn how to debate and then you're starting to debate with your parents,
you've already lost.
You kind of lost, right? It's like they still need to recognize that we are the adults, and even though you want to say, while you're living under my house, you should never say it, right? Okay. No?
Well, you don't phrase it that way.
That's what I say. That's what I mean.
Let's say living in this house
has these rules.
And if you would like to live in this house, well, but you only say if you'd like to live in this house to your adult children who don't legally have to live with you, right?
Yeah.
So you're just like, you can't kick your 15-year-old out for being a stink.
No,
right? It's like,
so
yeah. Anyway, so
there needs to be a sufficient level of tact, love, but firmness,
consistent.
Yeah.
And saying, I'm sorry, you broke the rules.
Yeah.
And this is the consequence for breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Because if you let your teenagers escape the consequences of their behavior, they will not follow the rules of the house.
Yeah.
So they will not be considerate. They will jump the fence every time.
Yeah.
So anyway. And then parents of littles, we'll just do that one really quick. Similar tactic, right? But more involved, right? So
Way more involved. Yeah.
Helping your kids understand that tantrums in the grocery store are not appropriate. Or
You don't run away from the cart.
Yeah. Or like just doing whatever they want wherever they are, or how picking up after themselves. These are all considerate behaviors, right?
Yeah.
Behaving themselves in public, behaving themselves at home. These are all considerate things about consideration, right? And so if you want them to be considerate, if they are not, then there again has to be a consequence. So if they won't pick up their toys, then they don't get to play with them.
And we went
right?
we went through phases too, depending on how old our kids were. There was some situations that we could take the kids out too. We could take them. So what I'm saying is, I'm talking about like restaurant.
Oh,
I'm
like, we didn't take our kids out. I promise. We didn't ever like punch their lights out. I'm going to take you out.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, that's why I was like, no, we never did that.
Take them out, like to eat or whatever. Because if they're going to be loud and obnoxious...
Take them on an excursion.
So...
Hey, I was a little worried about where you were going with that. Sorry for the teen lingo miscommunication there.
So...
Going out to eat. Or going to a movie. Or going to the park. Or whatever.
You can't just inflict your kids upon a specific environment if it's, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so but you still want to have those situations where they learn how to be considerate. And so it's a tricky balance once again.
So in the car on the way, we would remind them of the behavior rules.
Yep.
Of what was expected of them, right? It's like, do we get up and run around? No. Are we shouting? No, we use our inside voices.
And
things
whenever
like that.
you went to Walmart,
everybody. 5 kids, 1 me, right?
Yeah.
So everybody had to get a top 10 behavior. Like they had to get a 10 in their behavior.
Uh-huh.
Anything less than that, nobody got to pick a treat.
Yeah. Or
one person not getting a 10 meant nobody got a treat.
And remember how they used to give the little cookies?
Yeah.
So an instant reward for those kids if they showed.
And it didn't cost me anything. Because the bakery would give all my kids a free cookie.
Can we have 5 cookies?
You sure can.
Today we only get 3 because...
No, we get 0.
Oh.
Because 2 of them did not behave themselves.
Right.
They kept touching.
Yeah.
Right? So find a way that works for your family to help them become considerate, right? And so young couples, last one. No kids. You don't have to be young to have no kids, but, So how are you considerate of the other? Do you pick up after yourself? And you can't really, I don't know how to explain it, punish, because I really hate that word. You can't punish your spouse for not picking up their clothes. They're adults, and you don't have the power to punish. Right? But you can only wash what's in the basket. And I said, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was dirty. Why don't I have any clean clothes? Because you didn't put them in the basket. Is that a little passive-aggressive?
It kind of...
Yeah. So find something that's not passive-aggressive, that works for you, that's considerate of them, right? So that you are both considerate. Because the other spouse being inconsiderate does not equal your inconsideration.
And I think the best way to do any kind of, I don't want to call it training, but it feels like training because
it is.
How
to train your husband, how to train your wife.
Things together. you know?
Yeah, well, and talk
It's
it
like
out too.
when, like, sometimes it's like I've had a really long day. Michelle's had a really long day, but we have a thing of laundry we need to put away.
So we turn
And
on the
so we
TV
turn
in
on
our
the
room,
TV
dump
and
the
we
basket
just,
on our bed, and put away our clothes.
and it's not, and we just do it. And it's
And
like,
it takes half the time when he helps me.
so you find ways to do things together, and you don't want to say, this is your responsibility. You're a unit, you do things together.
They're equal partners.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. But it's so yeah, a conversation about expectations. Say, I really feel disrespected, or whatever word you want to use, when this happens. Can we come up with a solution so that I don't feel hurt
Yeah.
by that behavior? Right? It doesn't have to be confrontational, but just be aware that you can talk about these things and not just hold on to it and then talk behind their back to your girlfriend or your mother or whatever it is about that. You know, talk to the spouse, not someone outside the relationship. And that's really a considerate way to do that. So anyway, our assignment for this week is find a way to incorporate behavioral standards in your home, right?
Mm-hmm.
That include being considerate at the top.
Yeah.
Because families can't work without caring about each other and thinking about the needs and the feelings and the preferences of others.
Right.
Okay, you guys have a good week.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
Bye.